Hello, 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 hello. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Closing in on the end of the month. 2 days, end of the quarter, too. In 2 days. How is everyone doing? Hey, hey, waka, waka. You think the insanity's back? Still caught in a range. Every update does not have to be insane. Although the market is a little crazy. Good morning, Patrick. Hey, Richard. Good morning, Donald. Good morning, Stafford. I really wish they could put we got a person in turquoise waving. I want to see the person in turquoise waving. I don't want the text. Good morning, Anissa. Hey, Lauren. By the way, Lauren, thanks for all the retweets and the likes of the retweets. I really, really appreciate it. NABL added to S&P small cap. Good morning, Rich. Potential double bottom on DXY daily double chart. We'll take a look at the daily. Thanks for the good morning. Good morning, Heinrich. Again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're getting some more new regulars, more people jumping in. Remember, come on in and say hi. By the way, just a reminder, the memberships are going away at the end of the week. If you'd like to support the channel, everything's going back to a pure donation model. Just donate something other than that. And Sunday live streams will be no more. We'll cover some extra stuff on Friday. All right, getting into it. We had the mortgage stuff coming out this morning. Nothing really major. Pending home sales 30 minutes after the open. Minor, we still got Barr's testimony in front of the Congress, well, in front of the committees. Then we have EIA numbers and note auctions. So overall, what is my take from today? Very quiet. I mean, if you're trading crude, yes, you got to pay attention, but very quiet. Unless Barr says something shocking, very quiet, other than headlines rolling past, if any headlines. So that's out of the way. You see here, very green day. It's buying everything except Exxon and JP Morgan. Everything else, just buy it. Just buy it. We see energy, comm services, technology, definitely. Except from energy, crude continues to rally. Still watching for a topping pattern in that. We have a little wedging pattern on the short term. Comm services and technology, consumer cyclical. It's definitely a risk on day. Just go into risk on, and everybody knows I hate that saying. Fed watch, really still 60-40 for the pause. Fear and greed, still in fear. Let me refresh this once more. I don't remember if I did. Yeah, still in fear mode, but climbing up to neutral. In terms of gamma, we're trading right now 40.37, so we're in positive gamma. Remember, positive gamma peaking out just in front of 4100. Still no new gamma walls. Again, if you want to know more about gamma delta, that question was asked yesterday. Search for Mike's Crazy Classroom. I did a video on gamma and delta. So why pay attention is because when these levels flip, you're going to have, like, for example, when you get below 4K, you're going to have call gamma decreasing, and you're also going to have call delta decreasing, and you're going to have put delta increasing, so you can ramp it up. And especially when you go into negative gamma mode, that means dealers have to go the opposite. So, I mean, the dealers go with the move to hedge. So that is important there. But 4K is still the major level. We're above it now in terms of no earnings. I mean, there were earnings, but nothing major. The only thing I'm really looking at after the close is the high-end restoration hardware for high-end consumer. And that's really it. Earnings season has wound down. All right. So, by the way, this on the break, not in this one, but in the NASDAQ, this was watching yesterday's high, but we're closing in on some key resistance area. Going to bump this one up just a bit. Just a bit. Let me see, make sure that things got all linked again this morning. What I'm going to do is, at least with this stuff, this is where I'm going to the reverse harmonics. And so what do we have here? What do we have besides trading in a key resistance zone? If we pull our little harmonics, we're trading right at the 75. My next target area on a continued rally today, again, I'll be looking at the market internals for confirmation 40.52 to 40.60. But I'm going to pull back this level just a bit because I'm giving it a little more leeway for a pullback, but about 40.20 to 40.25 is key support. We drop below that. My major support is 40.13. So major support is still in front of 4K. We'd have to do some pretty heavy lifting to get down to 4K. And then we even have 4,005. So even on a retrace, yes, this is a clear path move, but clear path move, remember, is not a trade trigger. Going into the open, this is the only thing I'm keeping an eye on against the rotation zones. So lower probability but, and I'd shift to the conservative but. That's the only thing that could really gauge a pullback into the open. Right there below 40.3150 on a closing basis. And yes, it can be watched on a 15-minute move. Other than that, I already went through the levels to the upside. Cycles turning back up on the daily and on the weekly. We're getting closer, but not anywhere close to the top. So could we easily still run higher? Yes. And could we easily still form the A, B, C correction? Yes. Which is, I've been talking about that for a while now. Now, NASDAQ, I'm paying attention to yesterday's high because it is not only a rotation high up, as long as it closes above there, it is a %B buy. Now, does that mean new highs necessarily? No, it's trading against some pretty key resistance right here. But that's where that sits. So yesterday's high is key. This is one of the times that I will focus more on a high just because of the meaning from a systematic standpoint. All right, you see, this was a really nice run up, sideways correction. Hope everybody sees the difference between sideways and pullback correction. Sideways correction with the rotation zone catching up and breaking out. So we're above the 50% from the bigger retracement area. That's from the highs back on the 22nd of March to the lows on the 28th. We're trading right against that 50 and breaking above there and against a key resistance breakdown area. So if we get some momentum or some movement going into the open, my next major target is 12,914. Areas short of that we'd want to look for. Look at this here. So we went from the lows to this pausing area before the breakout. 12,884 is a fantastic minor level because we're going into this clear path move with the breakdown zone. So that's why, just using some simple tools. You have the breakdown zone. You have the green harmonic projection. And you have the 62.5 harmonic retracement. All in that area. 12,910, 12,912, 12,914. So if it continues up, that's a key area I will be utilizing for a target. Pullback, the minor pullback level, by the way, there's no double in the NASDAQ or potential double, 12,850. Then really on a bigger pullback, the bigger pullback at this point would be the bigger pullback area. I'd be watching this 1 hour rotation zone and how it's closing in on about 12,825. Where did that come from? How is everyone doing? Let's see. Whoa, what is going on? Hold on. Let me get back to it. Let's see who else is here. Good morning, George. Thank you, Lauren. Good morning, Brad. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Christoph. Hey, Richard. And good video on double tops and bottom. Thank you, Richard. There's a lot of hidden gems on this channel. Where do we sit? Can we check the NASDAQ? We already got the double top. We don't have a double top on the 1 hour with NASDAQ. This is already two. Remember, this was also a sideways correction. This is not a double. So if you're trying to scalp this, the real breakdown area would be between about 12,830 and 12,835 to the downside, but nothing yet. Remember, I'm going to be looking at the internals, but we have some momentum breakout to the upside. Until that changes, hey. And on the bigger picture, look, sideways correction. We're finally coming off of the sideways correction. And this is somebody who's long-term bearish because systematically it shows that. But short-term, yeah, we could easily break higher. Good morning, Jacob. Thanks for testing, Stafford. Good morning. That was easy. Major over. This is market is so illogical. I'll remind me after I get through these. We'll look at some other stuff in a second. By the way, for the Dow, we are breaking above some key major resistance. If it continues, my target is the 50. And we're seeing more rotation back into the Dow recently. I think it's more of a safety play, even though we're more in risk on today. We are more in the safety play, but major resistance about 32.980 to 33. If we pull back, key support 32.5. Everything else would be on the minor levels. This is not a double yet. It doesn't look like a potential double. Oh, maybe it is. 32.84. That's why we measure it. 32. Yes, it is. So that's the only little short-term pullback. I'd go with the conservative targets, but we don't know if that highs in. So I'd flip them around. When I talk conservative targets, that's the shorter leg. That's just a pullback into the, you look, if you see that, if it does trigger, it's just a pullback to the 4-hour rotation zone. Russell, then we'll get to the spiders and the Qs. Russell still in massive consolidation. We break above about 1787 area. Key target 1798 to 1800. Don't have to dwell on that one. Key support coming in about 1767. The VIX, gap down, no fear in the market whatsoever going into month and quarter end. DAX, we're getting the rotation up. This is not a double top. It's not reversing a big enough move, but if we did break below this 14,950 area, it would be for a retest. Remember, we closed above the 62.5. We pulled back a little, and now my focus is at this 15,580 area, 15,570 to 15,580 on a break above the highs from March 22nd. Real quick with the notes, marching down towards very key support area, not yet triggering the potential double top. So watching for see how it reacts to support in here. 10-year yield climbing, sitting against the rotation zone right now. Very key area. Could still trigger the double. Let's see how that goes in the month end. Little gap down on the 2-year yield, and so far nearly an inside day. 10-2 yield curve. Little pop up, but nothing major today. Dollar index. No double yet. It has to trade down to the 101.87 area before there's a potential double bottom. And this little up move would not invalidate it. So, no double bottom there yet. Crude, continuing to march. Next target is 1705. But here's what I'm watching. We got this little sort of sloppy wedging pattern, wedging up. So I'm watching for that to potentially roll over with cycles at the top, getting to overbought. So any upside from my viewpoint is cautious on the spiders, on the spidey senses. Besides triggering the double yesterday, coming back down and latching on the first target, now the big gap up. To the upside then, let's pull off some of this real quick and take a look at the little short-term levels for everybody. So 399.22, so we're above that. I'd use that at support, and then the support level would be back at about 398 to 398.10. Next target, 485. Remember, we're going into the topping area from the 22nd, and then 402. You can use the forward harmonic projections. So a minor level, 4,011, roughly at these topping candle areas. Remember, focus on bodies more so than wicks, so that would be a great stop raise from any longs. And then 485 to 401.30 would be a fantastic another level for a potential short-term targets to utilize. Again, unless you break black below 39.11, I wouldn't even bother focusing on a gap fill play. The gap fill would be back down to 395.66 on the Qs. The Qs. The Qs. If you were wondering, was this a mini double bottom? Yes, it was from yesterday. Oops, wrong one. And so those targets it would have triggered, but you'd have to get it at the yesterday close. Right now, what are we watching? What are we watching? I'd be utilizing this 309.75 to 310 for pullback levels. Okay, I wouldn't even bother focusing on a potential gap fill below unless it starts breaking below 309.70, but then you have key support at 308.70. So there's a lot to chew through before you get to a gap fill. To the upside, 311.32 to about 311.50. Start closing at least on the 1 hour above 311.32. Next focus for me is 312.63 and then 313.93. Don't even need to do projections. So that's where that stands. Gold, still inside day yesterday, not triggered to double. Still watching for, don't have a strong buy pattern yet, but we're keeping an eye on it. The yen, finally the break above the resistance shelf. Trading against some pretty key resistance right now on a continued rally, 133.22. So definitely in risk on mode today based off the yen's reaction. The euro, no potential double top yet. Nothing going on yet. The euro, pound still has the potential double top in play. Other than that, key support coming in at 123. Bitcoin still holding the rotation. So we're going to keep an eye on that because I'm still looking for a topping pattern to trigger, but nothing yet. This is way too sloppy. The same breakdowns area is the 12,660. Tesla confirming the double, but remembering not triggering yet. And to the short side, there's been not a lot of great patterns just yet. Besides anything on a rollover play would be for the gap fill, but still in consolidation. Remember, going into end of quarter delivery numbers. So we shall have to see. Now on a run up, my key area, we're trading 193.22. We'll still be focused on 197.50 and then roughly the 200. What else do we want? EBS. EBS. So, if it holds above $10, which was a little resistance shelf in here, all right, holds above there on any pullback plays, the next major target is 11 to 1109. Also, that area being the breakdown zone. So as long as you're holding this key area, you have a little resistance shelf here. As long as you're holding that $10 area, if you start breaking below 10, we could get a reversal back to a gap fill. But other than that, let's just take a look at the longer term, and this would take us into the weekly rotation zone. So what are the targets above that? Should it continue above the 11 to about 1133, the next major target area would be 1220, which is smack dab in the middle of the rotation zone. So, does this look like a long-term bottom yet? No, it looks like a pop play. So those are the exact harmonics I would be using. Lulu Massive Monthly Head and Shoulders. I mean, Lulu Pop, definitely. This has to be used with the no. It's you got double shoulders. You're better to just watch this area about 270 for an eventual breakdown play, but this, no, it's tilted. You got a really messed up. Again, if you might as well just use a horizontal support level here. If it does break 270, but there'll probably be an entry signal before that, jumping up to some major resistance area. This is some major resistance up in this area. So, that's your Lulu. Still holding strong. Next, look at that major resistance area from that monthly, and your next target area on a continued push would be 374.18 to 375.60 area. I'd be watching a little bit in the coming weeks for a massive potential gap play. Also, you still have a little gap left behind. Look at this, right, that 87.5, and you got the key close. 374.51, you still have a gap magnet from way back in December to potentially fill. There we go. You're welcome, Heinrich. Apple, then sure, Apple. I'm just watching now. We got a potential percent B buy up with a rotation buy above yesterday's high on a closing basis. And the first target area would be the prior to 160.90 to about 161.69. So that's what I will be keeping an eye on in Apple. So even if you get a pullback, it's got to close still above yesterday's high. Now, longer term in Apple, I will be watching at some point shortly coming into a significant topping pattern with some potential. We already had one divergence. So, but can it easily push higher in the short term? Yeah. Now, if we start getting below this 155 level again, then short-term pushes, then we could start getting that slightly bigger rollover. You're late again. It's okay, Sterling. You're welcome, Anissa. You're welcome, Lauren. Hope all is well with you, Sterling. All right, let's just peek in at everything. All right, looks like this double is going to be off the table really soon, if not already. So, on any pullback, this is where I'll watch the shorter rotations. The shorter rotations and coming back into key support if we do try to retest this on the open, but it looks like some pretty hefty buying pressure in the S&P. Looks like very strong buying pressure so far in the NASDAQ. So I'm going to be watching the internals to see if we get confirmation. Also, NASDAQ, you see this little shorter area. You have a clear path move. You don't have much stopping points in front of the 62.5 and just hit that 12,284. All right, there we go. You're welcome, Ted. Thank you. I will be back after the close. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. NQ Weekly Double Top. No, remember the targets went beyond the key levels. Just watch this for a breakdown play. Don't even. I've talked about that. Don't bother with the double targets. There are better targets to utilize. And the first warning sign would be a close. You don't even have to wait for those lows below the 200 again. Don't even have to wait for those lows. You're welcome, Donald. I will see everyone after the close. Bye for now.